Monsters vs. Aliens Movie Storybook. Susan couldn't wait to marry Derek. As she excitedly approached the church, a glowing meteorite slammed down from the sky and nearly hit her. Later, when Derek tried to slip the wedding ring on her finger, Susan started to glow green. Then she began to grow and grow and grow. "Derek, do something!" she cried as she crashed through the roof of the church. The wedding guest ran screaming as the army took Susan away. Susan woke up in a prison with some very strange companions. Half-human Dr. Cockroach, a slimy blue mask called Bob, lizard-like the Missing Link, and an enormous grub called Insectosaurus. "Might we ask your name, madam?" Dr. Cockroach asked her. "Susan," she replied. "No, we mean your monster name. What do people scream when they see you coming?" Bob asked. Susan was confused, then relieved when the fully human General W.R. Munger arrived. "One thing," he said, "the government has changed your name to Ginormica." While Susan sobbed in her cell, the rest of America was watching television as the president prepared to make first contact with an alien robot that had crash-landed on Earth. The robot was not impressed with President Hathaway's warm welcome, so the U.S. military attacked, but their bullets and missiles just bounced off the robot's force field. "I'm brave! I'm a brave president!" Hathaway shouted as he and his men were forced to retreat. "Listen up! I'm not going down in history as the president who was in office when the world came to an end. So somebody think of something and think of it fast," the president said, sipping his coffee. Luckily, General W.R. Munger had a plan. "We need raw power. We need monsters," he declared. He showed the president and his men pictures of all the monsters in his secret prison. The president was impressed. "I propose we go forward with your monsters versus aliens idea," he told the general. Meanwhile, Susan was convinced Derek was going to rescue her from prison. "Nobody's leaving," the Missing Link said. "Nobody's ever getting out." Just then, General W.R. Munger burst in. "Good news, monsters! You're getting out," he told them. But it wasn't quite as simple as that. "So let me get this straight, Munger. You want us to fight an alien robot?" the Missing Link asked. "And in exchange for saving the Earth, the President of the United States has authorized me to grant you your freedom," Munger confirmed as they boarded a plane to go and confront the giant robot. Susan and the monsters were excited to be out of prison, but less happy to see the huge alien robot. "Hide in the city, Susan. You'll be safe there," Dr. Cockroach suggested. The monsters tried to attack the robot, but it ignored them and crashed through the empty streets after Susan. She raced across the rooftops as she tried to escape. Suddenly, she had an idea. Susan jammed her giant feet into two cars. "Okay, I got this," she said as she skated across the city. Dr. Cockroach and the Missing Link sped after her in a trolley car, while Bob got stuck to the robot's foot. Finally, the monsters and the trolley crashed into the water. Susan was alone with the robot. Susan skated away from the robot onto the Golden Gate Bridge, with the monsters following close behind. "We have to get these people off the bridge," she shouted. Bob ate the concrete divider so the cars could get through, while Insectosaurus shot silk into the robot's eye. The monsters battled against the giant robot, but one by one they were all defeated. Susan would have to save herself. She used her super strength and the broken cables from the bridge to pull the robot down, breaking it in half as it fell. High above the battle on the bridge, an angry, four-eyed alien called Galaxar watched as his robot failed in its mission. "That lower life form thinks she can steal my quantonium?" he asked the spaceship's computer. Quantonium cannot be retrieved via robot, the computer confirmed. Female carbon-based life form is now too strong. Computer, set a course to Earth. I will retrieve the Quantonium myself, even if I need to rip it out of her body one cell at a time. Galaxar laughed madly. Amazed she had defeated the robot, Susan was keen to get home and see Derek. She invited her new friends to meet him too, at a welcome home party thrown by her parents. The monsters were very excited. It was years since they had been to a party, and it showed. Bob tried to make friends with a wobbly dessert and couldn't understand why it ignored him. The missing link crawled out of the pool looking like a zombie and terrified the human guests, while Dr. Cockroach tried really hard to impress, but his cocktails contained some very suspicious ingredients. Worst of all, Derek was not pleased to see Susan. "Don't crush me for saying this," he said, "but things have changed. This will never work out. It's over." A heartbroken Susan walked off into the night. The monsters followed Susan's trail of tears to a petrol station, where she was finally starting to look on the bright side. "No more being pushed around by people or robots or anything," she declared. "Why did I even want to get back to normal? The only cool stuff I've ever done happened after I became a giant." As her monster friends cheered, a beam of light suddenly shot down from the sky and pulled Susan up into Galaxar's spaceship. Insectosaurus tried to save her, but was hit by a blast from the ship. It fell to the ground, still and unmoving. Inside his ship, Galaxar confronted Susan. "Your enormous, grotesque body contains Quantonium, the most powerful substance in the universe. Did you really think you could keep it from me?" Without the Quantonium, Galaxar knew his plan to build an alien civilization on Earth could never work. But Susan wasn't willing to give up without a fight. She smashed through Galaxar's force field and chased him onto the bridge. Galaxar smiled as he pulled a lever, trapping Susan in an extraction chamber. She punched at the walls but got smaller and smaller as the chamber took the Quantonium from her body. Eventually, Susan collapsed back to her normal size. When she woke up, Galaxar was preparing to send thousands of clones of himself to invade Earth. Meanwhile, General Monger helped the monsters get onto the alien ship. Bob, the missing link, and Dr. Cockroach dressed up as clones and used their disguises to trick the real clones into handing over their prisoner, Susan. "We need to destroy that cloning machine," said the missing link. "What do you say, Ginormica?" "I wish I could," Susan said, looking at her normal-sized body. "But I'm not Ginormica anymore." While Dr. Cockroach rewired the ship's computer, Bob and the missing link fought off the clones, and Susan ran for her life. Suddenly, she found herself back on the bridge with the real Galaxar. As Susan and Galaxar fought, Dr. Cockroach managed to deactivate the cloning machine. "Okay, you can do this," Susan told herself as she wrestled the alien to the ground and grabbed his gun. "It's over, Galaxar," Susan said. She shot at the statue containing the Quantonium. The statue's hand broke off, trapping Galaxar, while the Quantonium flowed back into Susan, turning her into Ginormica again. All the fighting had damaged Galaxar's ship so much that it began to break apart. Luckily, General Monger arrived to rescue the monsters just in time, riding on a giant butterfly. Insectosaurus! Later, the president faced the monsters on the White House lawn. "Job well done, monsters," said the president as the crowd cheered. "Earth has been saved, and we owe it all to you." The monsters were freed and happily set up home in the desert. After years in prison, they couldn't wait to relax in the sunshine. Life was definitely more interesting these days, Susan thought. It hadn't taken her long to realize that being Ginormica wasn't such a huge problem after all.